Good afternoon. I'm glad so many of you all decided to come out here to talk about what we've all been waiting on the past month here in DeKalb County. Back in March of this year, I asked Mr. Mike Bowers and Richard Hyde to come in as special investigators to look at instances of waste, fraud, and abuse in our county to help us look for opportunities where we can find those areas where we are at risk of letting the taxpayers down. That executive order was put in place in March of 2015. We named both Mike Bowers and Richard Hyde separately as special investigators, and they were charged to investigate the day-to-day operations of DeKalb County government and to bring back various recommendations to the county to let us know those areas where we need to tighten reins, where we need to work on our fiscal controls and other opportunities to prevent those areas from waste, fraud, and abuse. We asked them, we told them through that executive order that they had 120 days, and it would be my discretion to continue it if I saw fit. We asked them to provide us with 9 recommendations, an area of 9 recommendations. You can read the executive order of things that we need to look at, recommendations that we need to implement to better protect the taxpayers of our county. We asked them to evaluate the need to establish an Inspector General office, to review internal investigation protocols, to review the county's internal controls, to review personnel policies and procedures, to review financial controls, to review the DeKalb Ethics Code and other existing county oversight mechanisms, to operate a telephone hotline to receive confidential calls about the work of the special investigator, to review the county's motor vehicle take-home policy, and to perform any other functions that I authorize them as the interim CEO of DeKalb County. They took not only the 120 days that was spelled out in the executive order, but they went beyond that. And so we are here today. I also told them that I would not receive that report prior to it being released to the public. And here we are today. As I've been told, many of you all have had it probably hours before I got a chance to look at it. And so what we have are 40 pages of their final report. 40 pages. 40 pages that we spent as a county $850,000. 40 pages. And I have to say, that report is laughable. And I would charge each and every one of you all, you reporters as well, and those who are watching this, to read that report. Read every page of the 40 pages and remove 2 things. Remove the salaciousness, the salacious language that you see in there, and then just remove the one thing, of course, that they really knew would get your attention, that I ought to resign this seat. Remove those 2 things just momentarily and tell me, do you believe that that report is worthy of $850,000 of DeKalb County citizens' taxes? Now, I'm answering for you right now. I'm going to say absolutely not. Absolutely not. And look, this was a good idea. This was a great idea, I believe, to bring in an outside element to investigate the ongoings of our day-to-day operations. But what I know beyond a shadow of a doubt today, that was the absolute wrong person. I believe that Mike Bowers would be a man of integrity, a man of professionalism, a man of his word. And I see nothing in this report that would align with those original thoughts that I had. I would ask you to look through that report and see if you see anything in there that's worthy of me resigning this seat as interim CEO. I've read through it, and I don't see anything. The salaciousness of this report is unbecoming, I believe, of a former Attorney General of the state. We brought him in because of his high profile, because of his former work as Attorney General for the state. We brought him in. We saw what he did with the Atlanta public school system. And I knew that he would be someone that I couldn't dictate things to, control, or even give the perception that that would be something that I would do. And I have not done that. Let me be clear today. I have not attempted to control this report, the outcomes of this report. I have not attempted to direct in any way, shape, or form the work that they have done. I have not. And I felt like you needed to hear that from me here this day. But I will take these 40 pages, half of which are charts and a regurgitation of things that we've all seen. Half of the report is P-card transactions. How much more can we have of P-card transactions? A couple of months ago, they came back and said through a one-pager that we ought to suspend it. I did a step further than that. I eliminated the P-card program. That's what I did. But yet they continue to research P-card transactions. They went to the district attorney and to the sheriffs and told them they wanted records that they already had. And I chimed in and said, look, that was not in your scope of work through the executive order. Read the executive order. The reporters, I want you to read the executive order. The executive order is clear. It's clear that it was 120 days. And so the report that I fired them is absolutely false. They were given a job to do in 120 days. At my discretion, I could extend. But they were given 120 days. They were also told to investigate and give recommendations about the day-to-day operations of our county government, in which I, as the interim CEO, is responsible for. Did they do that? Absolutely not. They went to the district attorney and the sheriff, who I have absolutely no control over their day-to-day operations, to seek information. Now, frankly, I believe that Mike Bowers has an issue with our district attorney. He said as much to me. He doesn't like them. The bribery schemes that he put forward in that 2-page update, if there was a bribery scheme, you would have expected them, and I told them, if there's any illegal actions or criminal activity that you have uncovered, send it immediately to the district attorney. I told him that on numerous occasions. I said it in writing. I said it to him publicly. He is yet to do that. At the end of this report, he said he will send all the materials to the GBI. Now, Mike knows as well as I do that the GBI is going to take this report and they don't even have the capacity to do what he's asking them to do. But I'm all for it. I've sent various correspondence and I've made various calls, rather, to the director of the GBI, informing him of things that have occurred. And I'm open for any investigation to occur. But yes, I am challenged with this report. I'm challenged with the language, the comments, and even more so, the content of this report. The content of this report is at best laughable. At worst, it's pitiful. And I can't be even any stronger than that. And that has absolutely nothing to do with him asking, recommending that I should resign. If that's his thought, so be it. And I'll answer that question for you right now. I'm not resigning. Now, if the people of DeKalb, the taxpayers, the residents of DeKalb ask me to step down, then absolutely, that's something that I'm willing to do. But I did want to come here and make these statements for you today, and I'm open to answering questions from reporters that we have here today. Can I get a
Mr. Mayor, what can you tell us? Mr. Mayor, what can you tell us about the loan that you were given from Mr. Williams?
I have no idea where Mr. Bowers is getting any conversation about a loan. He's attached it to the $4,000 check that you all have reported on, where I'm concerned. And if you all recall, I sent that to every investigative body that I could. I publicly stated that with that check, I've never received that check. I've never signed that check. I never received any money from that check. I was never aware of that check. And so absolutely, there is nothing to that statement. Loans of any nature. We never even discussed a loan in our conversations with Mr. Bowers or with Mr. Hyde. So again, I have no idea what he's talking about where this is concerned.
What can you tell us?
To be fair, your criticism of calling this a final report and questioning if the 40 pages was worth the $800,000 figure that you had, The second line says it's not a final report, and the reason being is they didn't have unfettered access beyond this apparent 120 days. They are criticizing that. So to that point, it's not fair to call it a final report because they're saying they didn't get everything that they were trying to get.
The second line also talks about, dates that comment to August the 6th. That's almost a month ago that they had to complete their final report. I've asked them to do that. When they said that they needed more time, I asked them, how long will it take you? They couldn't tell me. They couldn't tell me what direction they were going. They couldn't give me any insight into the investigation. We are at roughly $850,000. They don't have a blank checkbook. And let's be clear, this is about money for them. They started early on saying that you have no idea what you've asked for. This is going to cost so much money. I believe they received upwards of $2 million with the Atlanta public school system. They will not get $2 million here in DeKalb County. We have a district attorney, we have the GBI, we have the federal government that can do other investigations. What I was hoping to get, and it's clear in my executive order, was to get an investigation of the day-to-day operation. Let me know what's been going on. If they find any illegal activity, send them immediately to the appropriate investigative bodies. Number one. Number two, give us a robust list of recommendations. Now, you saw the last page or so of the report. Does that look like robust recommendations about the future? They've had well over 120 days. They're close to 200 days probably at this point. And if they couldn't complete their work by then, that is not on us. They were given a job. They knew the scope of their work at the very beginning. They failed to do it.
Mr. May, what do you have to say to the taxpayers? This costs almost $1 million, and you're saying the report is pitiful. So
I'm glad you asked that. That's a honest question. And again, I talked about this being the right thing, but the wrong person. And frankly, I have to apologize to the taxpayers for this. I erred in the selection of Mike Bowers in this. Not in conducting this investigation, but I erred in the person that we brought in to do the investigation. And I believe that what we have to date is wasteful. And I'm going to be asking for some of our money back. And I will be taking the appropriate measures in order to do that.
how much?
We will have to do. I have to consult with our county attorneys and staff to see where we are on that. But look, we've all seen and heard about the many challenges that our county has had over the years, not just the past couple of years, but the past decade. I was looking to get to the very heart of that matter, of ensuring the integrity and the confidence in our government. And this was the process that I chose to do that. I stick with that process, but I do regret the selection of Mr. Bowers.
How was the Mike Bowers that you thought that you were getting different than the one that you got?
Well, the Mike Bowers that I thought, and Bill, I talked about this earlier, the Mike Bowers that I thought that I was getting was a respected former attorney general, a lawyer who has to uphold the creed of his bar, of the bar code, a person that could help us get to the very heart of, with details that we can take to move the county forward. And that's just simply not what I received. I expected to get an honest, Mike Bowers, a person that would be a man of his word, and I got none of that.
Why
Next question, please.
There's an allegation in there about an adult movie purchased by you that has dollar and cents. I think it's like $36.45 at a hotel
in Hawaii, right? So I went to Hawaii for a National Association of County Officials event. I'm on the board of directors. I was in leadership there. There was a board of directors meeting there. The total bill was $1,500. And I put 2 nights room stay on the county. 2 nights, $564. Mike Bowers has this. This is what I'm talking about, a man of his word. And you all have this. It shows the deposit was paid by the county before I got to Hawaii, and the remainder of the bill was paid by me, by my debit card, $971. Okay, all of that was built, just the 2 nights room stay, and absolutely was not an adult movie. I watched a litany of movies, and I believe that's the totality of those movies. But again, a man of his word, he puts that in there because he knew that that would be salacious in this report that Lee May went to Hawaii, that he put on county taxpayers' dollars, and he put an adult movie on this. Come on, Mike.
What about the spa treatment?
Again, that was on the total bill, and I paid for it with $971 is the totality of the room and the other things that I paid.
You said that you had said that you were going to provide documentation. Is this what you're talking about?
He has that documentation. Now, whether he looked at it, we gave it to him quickly after the meeting that I had with him. I think I met with Richard Hyde about that. I told him I would get back, and I got him the information that he requested. Again, it's salacious things that he's putting in here. It's ridiculous, you all. And this should show you how much you should, take his word in things that he's saying in here.
But you hired him, Mr. May. That's where the question is. This was your idea.
And I've just acknowledged that the selection of him was a mistake. It absolutely was a mistake, and we're going to take actions. And I'll have to live with it, but we're going to take actions in order to recoup some of our money. Some of the bill has not been paid yet, and so we're going to be talking about what this 40-page report actually is worth. And at the end of his report, he also says he'll send additional documentation to the GBI. We've not seen that. I need everything that he has so that we as a county can look at it and reflect on it and use it. But to say that he's going to send this over, look, I hired him. He works for DeKalb County in this role. He doesn't get to pick and choose what he will deliver and what he. I get the fact that he didn't deliver anything before today because again, I didn't want anything. He attempted the rotten to the core statement that he put in there. I didn't see that before you all saw it. He tried to give it to me, and I told him no. I told the people that I wouldn't see anything before they sent it out. But I would ask you all to look at this report, and does it anywhere near translate rotten to the core based upon his previous statement?
He also questions your leadership ability.
And hey, anybody can question my leadership ability. Commissioners question my leadership ability. My wife questions my leadership ability. It is what it is. Everyone has their opinion. But at the end of the day, we're looking for facts. He didn't even give any backup. So what does that mean? No backup, nothing.
So how would someone as accomplished as him call for your resignation then? I mean, wouldn't he do that with a lot of consideration, considering a lot of facts?
Well, I would hope that he would, but the fact of the matter is he is not giving us anything to back that up, to support that. And the documentation that we have had to provide has discredited a number of things just right here. He laid out a number of transactions that commissioners have made, and those things have been discussed over and over and enough. Why are you spending? When I found out he was working on the PCAR stuff, I asked the question, why? The FBI has it, the GBI has it, the media has it, my mother has it. Why are you continuing this? But I just asked the question, well, I didn't say stop. They continue to do whatever work that they deem necessary. But again, I have that same question. Why would you make statements without the appropriate documentation and backup?
What happens next? Do you take any of these findings or recommendations? I know you don't agree with all of them, but
right.
Do you take some of them? Are there going to be any actions taken as a result of this?
Well, I read the report. It took me 5 minutes to read it. And it shows you how detailed it was. It took me 5 minutes to read it, and I'm going to look at explicitly the recommendations. Because for me, this exercise, the most important thing to be accomplished was the recommendations. If we can weed some of the bad apples out as a part of his investigations, that would have been awesome for me. It would have been great for us. It would have helped to protect the integrity of our county. But I was very hopeful about the litany of recommendations that we would see. But I would look at his recommendations and then look at the recommendations that we asked for. It's almost line for line. He gave us no more text for his recommendations than we did, that we put in our executive order. There's no information there. There's no data there.
Mr. May, is DeKalb County corrupt?
Absolutely not. Do we have bad apples? Absolutely we do. And it was our hope that through this process we could weed out some of the bad apples, that we could begin to move the county in the right direction where public's confidence is concerned. That's what we were hoping to get. We're no more corrupt than any county in this state. You know, I look at Gwinnett County, and I love Charlotte Nash over there. She's been doing a lot of work to fix them up. But if you look at Gwinnett County over the past 4 or 5 years, they had a chairman resign so he wouldn't get indicted. You had a commissioner that got indicted for taking $1 million, got probation. You had another commissioner that went to jail for 3 years for taking a $38,000 bribe, got out of jail, and said corruption is everywhere in Gwinnett. And I saw about one story from you all. You know, and people just have not continued to talk about that. But there have been challenges everywhere, and I'm not picking on Gwinnett. I love Gwinnett. I think they're doing some great work over there. But I'm giving you an example. The city of Atlanta has had challenges. Everywhere is going to have challenges. We're a $1 billion organization, over 6,500 employees. We're going to have challenges with people, with protocol, people doing the wrong thing. And what I'm charged to do is fix them all.
But when you say things like we're not as corrupt as Dan,
I didn't say we're not as
corrupt as everyone
No,
else.
I didn't say we're. No, I didn't say that. I said
We're only as corrupt as others.
No, I didn't say that. You're putting words into my mouth. I said that every jurisdiction has their challenges, and yes, we do have challenges, and we're working to fix those challenges every day. Last question. Oh, thank you. I appreciate you all. Thank you for coming out.
Thank you. Thank you.